on you. Dallas has beaten Phoenix in the playoffs last year, and I told them this is the last week of NBA basketball before we start the real season begins. I'm looking forward to that, the playoffs, because that's the real season. We'll see who are contenders, and we'll see who are the chumps and who's been smack talking all year. Because that's what I say. That's what the playoffs are. I always tell people, if you lose 4 games, you're gone. We here talking. Show me. Step. And he's like, I'm a critic when the playoffs start.
What up, Mike?
What time you going to
No.
basketball?
Can you hear me? Because this
Yeah,
I'm in the mountains, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
My Wi-Fi is terrible, bro. Like this whole stream keeps cutting in and out. So hopefully none of my amazing takes get cut out of the stream. But we can start now. Welcome everyone to the 27th episode of Some Casual Takes, a podcast hosted by me, Stephen Pepper, featuring other sports fans debating interesting topics with the most casual takes. This episode is brought to you by no one. No sponsorship. Please pay me. Get some guests today. We got Mike back in the mountains. He's on an adventure right now, but took a break. Salute to him to come on the pod. Chris is back, ready to talk some ball. He's got his Lakers warm up in. Cap, long return. Capo's long return in the stream. Yep. We got Kev Pop in the building.
Hello there.
All right. So today, there's barely any NBA games yesterday, so today is not a recap stream. From the title of the stream and from the topics that I have, it shouldn't be a long stream depending how long we take. But the title of the stream, today's episode and Monday's episode is all going to be about season wrap-up topics. The season ends on Sunday. I think that's the last day of the regular season.
Yeah, it is. It's the final day of the season.
To the play-in on like Thursday, I think, is when the play-in starts.
No, Wednesday.
Okay, so Wednesday. So we have a little break in between. So today is most people's second to last games are today. Lakers play a bunch of them. So the season's going to wrap up soon. And we're going to talk about a lot of giving out.
No, Tuesday. Play-in starts on Tuesday, the 11th through the 14th.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. That's a lot closer than I expected. So we're going to talk about a lot of award giving out, ranking teams, giving our outlooks on how these teams are going to play in the postseason. Wasn't a lot of games tonight to talk about, but there are a lot tonight, including one being Lakers and Suns. Huge playoff implications on the line. So I want to ask you guys, on a scale through 1 to 10, because this is a back-to-back for Phoenix, on a scale to 1 to 10, how much stock do you give that the Lakers beat Phoenix tonight?
Well, that's going to be interesting because for Phoenix, we don't know who's playing. There's a lot of twists because Monty Williams has to decide whether or not to play his starters or play the bench guys because there's only 2 more days left. Not just counting today, but Saturday and Sunday, there's a couple more games. So if I was Monty right now, I would bench all my stars against the Lakers because they play the Clippers next weekend. So you don't want to risk injuries and you don't want to risk anybody getting hurt before the playoffs start. So I hope the Lakers can pull it off because Phoenix, they look tough.
Phoenix is locked in for that 4th seed too. So I do get what you're saying. Yeah. Like if they lose the rest of the week, they don't lose anything. What about you, Kat?
I think we got a chance. It just has to come up to Monty Williams benching the players. I think KD played like 40 minutes the other night.
Against Denver.
Yeah, he put up heavy minutes. So if I see them in the starting lineup, bro, then I just in that case, bro, I just know for a fact that they just got something to prove against the Lakers. They just want to, knock them down a notch in some, in whatever way they can. But starters in, I don't know too much about it. I see,
I'm looking at the injury report right now, and
Mhm.
only person who's on that list is a doubtful TJ Warren. So we don't have any confirmation of whether the starters play.
Yeah, so it's already looking like he's gonna throw them in for tonight, and if that's the case, I don't really see us winning. What's an 8? Katie on the Suns right now is 8-0, so they're on a roll right now with him playing. So I don't really see us winning unless he benches the players tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about you, Kev? What about you, man? What do you think about the Lakers, Suns?
I think this game is a very important game for the Lakers by the obvious reasons. They're only about a game back from the Warriors. They're a game back from the Clippers. For the Suns, it doesn't really matter by the fact that you just said they're already the 4th seed. But
Yeah.
I still expect Monty Williams to still play Devin Booker. Devin Booker was out midway through the season with an injury, and he came back. I still expect him to play. I still expect Aiden to play. So I don't think that this is going to be an easy win for the Lakers. By that same logic that the Lakers had with their loss to who'd they play? Who'd they lose to? The Clippers. The Suns are playing back-to-back, so this might be a scheduled loss for the Suns, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because, they're stuck in that 4th seed. But for the Lakers, they need to take this game extremely seriously because I know you guys were talking about the play-in. The thing about that play-in, they play next week, and then they got to jump straight back into the playoffs. That's why it's very important to get into that 6th seed.
I don't think they want to do that.
I think
what about you, Mike? What do you think, Mike?
I mean, like I was saying, if it just depends on who the Suns play. Like, I'm a biased Lakers fan, so I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hope we got this. I hope we got it in the bag, regardless. But it really do depend on who the Suns play, and if they play the starters, it's gonna. I feel like Anthony Davis gonna have to show up for real.
Chris on top. Chris got some fans in here, bro.
Yeah, I told people watch the stream. This is the last regular season one before we get right in the postseason because the playoffs are almost here, and it's going to be interesting to see because I agree with your point. This game for the Lakers, I haven't even looked at the IR report from NBC Edge.
Everyone should play. Everyone should play.
I think they should play. I mean, everybody for the Lakers should play. I mean, tonight Darvin needs to experiment who's going to play in the rotation and who's not going to be in the rotation because it will be interesting.
Yeah, the Lakers players will always be on the LeBron and AD will always be on the injured list for the remainder of the season. They'll always be game time decisions because of their injury. But yeah, like you guys said, you guys split it perfectly, man. This is a huge game for the Lakers. If I had to say how much stock on a scale to 1 to 10, I'd give the Lakers to win this game. I think I'd give them like a 6 on my confidence scale because I think they'd probably
6.
I think they want it more than Phoenix, but at the same time, I don't know how the Lakers are going to come out and play. This is a huge test for the Lakers. I think that if the Lakers win tonight, this is the ultimate confidence booster for me. If they win tonight, I have no problem giving them Western Conference Finals appearance lock. I have no problem. If they win tonight, I think they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals. If they lose tonight, I think they're going to lose in the first round. I mean, they have to win.
The Lakers?
Yes.
Wow, that's an extreme.
That's bold, my dog.
That's pretty extreme.
I mean, I don't like this team going to the playoffs with 2 losses against the Clippers and the Suns, 2 really tough teams. If I see 2 losses like this on your resume going into the playoffs, how am I supposed to pick you to go far in the playoffs? Who are you going to beat? If you can't beat any of these teams, who are you going to beat? So if they beat the Suns tonight, I have all the confidence in the world to take them to the Western Conference Finals. If they lose tonight, I think they're going to lose in the first round. I really do. I don't like this Lakers team going to play-in. You said it right, without the Lakers don't want to play play-in. 100%. LeBron, AD, health issues with nagging injuries, old team. These guys don't want to play in the playoff. They play in. They don't. They don't want to go in the playoffs after 2 days, come back, win a play-in game, then, you know what I'm saying? Then hop right back in the playoffs. They don't want to do that. They're going to have to play multiple games this week. They just don't want that. And also, like, it depends if they lose in the play and then have to go play like the 9-10 winner. Like, they don't want to do that as well. But huge implications too, because I'm looking at this other games. We got Warriors Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors lose to Sacramento and the Lakers win. The Lakers are the 6th seed and control their destiny because they'll just play Utah at the end of the season.
And the Jazz have been eliminated from contention. After yesterday's game against the Thunder, the Jazz are not making the playoffs.
I don't buy that much stock about the Jazz getting eliminated because because I know teams like playing against the Lakers, and I feel like a team that'll be eliminated will just try to play with house money and just try to like kill the Lakers. So I don't put that much stock in that, but they do control their own.
They need to win that one though. They need to win that one still.
No, they need to win.
Yeah.
But
Utah's not gonna have. They need to beat the Jazz, but Phil, I'm gonna look at who else is up for Utah. They're not gonna have the services of Clarkson or Rudy Gay, Walker Kessler, the rookie sensation. He had a concussion. He's done. Lauri Markkanen might not be playing at all because he injured his hand for what I looked at. And former Laker Talen Horton-Tucker might not be playing either. So
that should be a dub.
Like they win tonight, which I think I have some confidence that they will. That's why I gave them a 6, not a 5. They win tonight. Golden State loses. They control their whole destiny to the 6th seed. They just need to make it to the 6th seed. So I'm looking at these standings right here.
They play the Kings.
They'll play the Kings first round. He said 11 straight ain't looking good. Huge King fan in the chat. Listen, bro.
Light the beam, buddy. You gotta light that beam if you're a Kings fan, because it's the first time you made the playoffs in over a decade. So I know you're excited, Kings fans, about making the playoffs, but
more than a decade.
whoever you're matching up with in the first round, that's going to be beneficial, because I don't have the playoff matchups and I don't really know who's going to be playing who in the West. But the Clippers, who do you think? The Clippers are playing the Suns. That's what I heard. That's the obvious matchup that I want: the Clippers and Suns, because the
Clippers play the Suns on Sunday. The Clippers play the Suns on Sunday.
And for Chris Paul,
that's why, the Suns are better off. Just like they might not care about this game. In reality, they might. I think that Booker and Aiden are going to play, but there's an absolute chance that they'll rest all their starters and let the Lakers take this win. Because at the end of the day, it truly doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to the Suns, because it doesn't, it just makes their record look better, but it doesn't help them in the standings. They're stuck in that 4th seed, so they might just focus on that Clippers game and just not care about this Lakers game.
Yeah, but Cap knows, bro. That graphic I sent you yesterday in the chat.
Yo,
all these guys come out of injury to play the Lakers, bro.
Yeah,
Conspiracy theory might start pushing around the league if the Lakers miss the playoffs, bro.
Right.
How does Colin Sexton miss 20 games, comes back to play the Lakers, and then immediately goes back on the injured list?
Exactly.
How come Middleton, Curry, all these stars, they're out for a while, but as soon as the Lakers are on the schedule, it's the return game? Makes no sense. But that's besides the point. So good games today. I do want to take time to restate my NBA awards real quick, because I think I've changed them around since the last stream I did it. So I'm going to restate my NBA awards real quick and just kind of, I've already done an NBA award stream, but if you guys have any disagreements, you can share at the end. So for the 2023 NBA season, here are my NBA awards for the 2023 NBA season. Get the obvious out of the way. I think a lock for Rookie of the Year. Everyone has it. Paolo Banchero, 20 a game. He's the best rookie, easily. He's had that since the start of the season. Coach of the Year, I think it's another easy one. I'm giving it to Mike Brown. He took the Sacramento Kings from a projected 10th, 11th seed to a top 3 seed in the Western Conference by just changing their culture, changing their play style, honestly taking the most out of De'Aaron Fox and these guys. Coach of the Year, no other coach has had that big of an impact on the team than Mike Brown this season. Then we go to 6th Man of the Year. I was looking at FanDuel today, and I saw that Emmanuel Quickley was the favorite for 6th Man of the Year. I don't think he is. I think it should be Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon's giving you 15 points. Malcolm Brogdon's giving you 15 a game on insane shooting splits, almost 50, 40, 90, including 45 from 3. So he's one of the best shooters in the league, one of the most efficient players in the league. Man, need a bench unit that could win a title. But yeah, I saw Emmanuel Quickley's the favorite. I don't know why. It's weird.
Because he plays for
I guess
New York.
A lot of people are hammering Emmanuel Quickley. I guess it's line, but for most improved. Now, most improved is a tricky one because it depends how you view most improved. Some people say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a really good case. I don't think so. I think
it's Lowry.
Most improved should go to role players with no expectations who transform their game. And that would be
I think it should be Lowry.
That would be Lowry Marketing. 15 points a game to 25 points per game in a jump.
He got better. It's just not opportunity. He actually got better as a player.
And he got to be an all-star this season.
Everyone saw Lowry Marketing, as you say, nice, solid, double-digit role player. Now he's 25 points per game, all-star starter. And before Utah decided to tank, and before Utah made trades, they were competing for a playoff spot with a tanking roster. And that's because of Lowry Marketing. He was an all-star starter.
The Jazz.
Defensive player of the year, I did change it. I was fighting for Brook Lopez, but I opened my eyes and realized I do not think that a defensive player of the year should be not even the best defender on his team. So I think that my defensive player of the year is Jaren Jackson. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr., he wouldn't qualify. He would be a game short if we apply the new CBA rules. If we apply the new CBA rules. Oh,
how many games is it?
Oh, is my internet good, by the way?
64? 63,
64.
All right.
64.
I thought my Wi-Fi was cutting out because I keep getting the Wi-Fi.
No,
but I'll just reset. Like I said, my defensive player of the year is now Jaren Jackson. According to the new CBA for next season, he would not qualify. He's a game short, but that CBA doesn't apply for this year, so I'm going to give it to Jaren Jackson. I'm going to remind you that Kawhi Leonard also won a defensive player of the year, I think, playing 64 games. So if you're saying Jaren Jackson didn't play enough, he did, according to voters. And he has the best individual rating compared to the other guys individual defensive rating compared to the other guys who are competing for this award. He's averaging 3 blocks a game. That's some Ben Wallace type stuff.
Crazy.
On a
Yeah, it is.
And on a top 3 defense in the association. And then for my MVP, I've explained this many times. I got to go Joel. I think Joel Embiid's probably had the most dominant season out of Giannis and Jokic, guys who could win this award. As far as recency bias, I mean, this man's team's winning, and he just dropped 52 the other night. I think he had more MVP games, MVP moments than the other guys who are competing for this award. So I'm going to go with Joel Embiid. But that's
what's your take for Joel Embiid over Giannis?
Joel Embiid over Giannis, getting really close. I just think Joel Embiid's season has just been a bit more dominant overall, but I think it's really close. But I just think Joel Embiid's dominance has just been a bit better. And I think Joel Embiid recently has played better than Giannis as far as who's had more monster games as of late.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give MVP to Giannis. I'm not going to lie.
I made a
not
video on it
Chris
saying that
Middleton
Giannis should
for a
get more
good chunk
MVP
of the
respect.
season.
I think he is. I think Giannis definitely has a case. He's my number 2 right now. I go Embiid, Giannis, and then Jokic. I mean, Giannis is top 5 in points and rebounds. I think he has a really good case.
I just think it's like
he's just played a bit better this season.
We can't ignore the fact that Joel Embiid has a Harden next to him. You know.
Yeah, Philly's been playing good basketball this season. I mean, the Sixers overall have had some good wins.
Giannis's team has a positive record without Giannis.
And Middleton's been injured, and Middleton has been injured majority of half the season.
50-point games. I'm pretty sure Drew Holiday won.
I've seen what Embiid can do without Harden. With Harden,
he can cook.
He dropped 40. He dropped 40 against Golden State without James Harden.
Right.
Yeah.
We got the NBA awards.
Conversation. I don't like how he's completely out there, and I don't like how it's just Embiid and Jokic as the probably final 2. Like early on in the season, I was definitely vouching for Jokic. I didn't care.
I was too. So I didn't like the hate.
Yeah, I didn't care about people being up 2 or what him having 2 MVPs and going for the 3rd one. I think people just at the time I just thought that they just wanted somebody new for MVP, so that's why they were saying Embiid. But Embiid's shown like the past 3 weeks, probably 3 or 4. Just the past 4 weeks in general that he's locked it in for MVP. He sold out each at every matchup. I don't think I've seen a single matchup where he's played and came up short. And he's done what he's had to do. As far as Giannis, I think it's literally like a 1A, 1B conversation with them guys. So
yeah, when we talked about the NBA awards, about like the winners, we got to talk about the losers. We have a lot of major disappointments for teams and not achieving. Do you want to speak about that, Steven? Because I have a lot of things to talk about the teams that are mediocre and teams that have been putrid this year. So
Okay.
A lot of teams in the West.
Okay.
Give me- okay,
Teams in the East.
we can do that. We can do
let's
that. I have fun.
let's give
We can do
LVPs
that. So
because
you're
I have a
talking
lot
about- you're talking about teams who have underachieved this season.
and did not make the playoffs,
Okay,
like
so
the bottom feeders. Like let's go with the
yeah, we can
let's
do-
go with the West.
All right. But we can
The
ask.
Blazers.
Everyone just picks one team who overachieved, one surprising team, and one under disappointing team. So, who do you think's been the most surprising? So, okay, who do you think's been the most team, and who do you think's been the most disappointing?
I definitely think the most surprising team obviously is the Kings. I did not expect them to come up into the season. Like I didn't even think of them as a potential play-in or playoff team. I just kind of saw them and brushed them off. Didn't really take them too serious. They came in the league and shook it up, bro. Early on in the season, you know, they had a little run, and I didn't think too much of it. I thought it was going to be a thing where they're up in the seeding, and then all of a sudden you just slowly see them get knocked down. And they've been able to maintain it and probably have the best offense in the NBA currently. They're putting up the most points in the league. They're really getting where they get like I see De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis getting off on guys every single few days. So definitely they surprised me. As far as the most disappointing team, I think it's a tie. Actually, I'm gonna give the Mavs the edge. The Mavs for sure is probably the most disappointing team. And it's
Losing
crazy 'cause-
Brunson,
What was that?
losing Jalen Brunson was one.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
even
they
losing Jalen
definitely should have
Brunson.
paid him.
Yeah,
most
they should have.
They screwed him over.
Yeah, they should have paid him for sure. But just regardless of Brunson, I think Finney Smith was a big loss just defensively. All around,
And Dinwiddie.
they're completely trash. You can't really acknowledge them defensively at all. So when you have a team that can really any player can really get off and go for as many points as they want against you, I think you're cooked regardless. So Mavs for sure, they're disappointing. I also wanted to say the Hawks. Coming into
They've been
the season,
so disappointing this year.
yeah, they've been. I've seen the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray duo. I liked it. I genuinely thought that would be the team I'd see probably succeed in the East, especially knowing where Trae was able to go with his team. Maybe was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, when they fired Lloyd Pierce, 2020 to 21, they made it to the conference final.
Yeah.
Nate Millen took over, and then this year, Nate's gone, and they hire Quinn Snyder as the coach.
Yeah.
The Hawks have been a major disappointment this year. I mean, they brought in a bunch of players. They trade away Kevin Huerter. That's one player that Sacramento added. I thought that trading for Kevin Huerter was the key player that hurt the most. But the Hawks have been disappointing. But my perspective is of disappointing teams. I have like a long list of teams in the East and the West. But the Eastern Conference, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. They've been a major disappointment to me all year long because overall last year you had excitement with Zach LaVine, DeRozan, you had Caruso, and then you top it off by adding Lonzo Ball. This season, Lonzo's not played any games. He's been out since January of last year. He hurts his knee.
And
And
they say he might miss next season too.
Yeah, and it's very sad to see that because I liked him when he was with the Lakers before he got hurt, when he sprained his ankle and everything. His career is beginning to go the opposite direction. With the Bulls, he was playing well. And I remember saying, I like that he's playing well. He's doing great. And then someone's like, he's out for a month. Like, maybe he's going to come back.
Again.
Yo, is he frozen?
Is it Justin? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Chris, frozen, bro. All right, someone else pick up for him then.
Well, I was going to say
well,
about the
go
Chicago
ahead.
Bulls, just like I don't see how they can be as surprising because The thing with them is that they struggle to score, and their defense surprisingly has been great. And with Lonzo being gone, they don't really have a reliable point guard. Their point guard rotation is not very. It's just not great. It's Ayo DeSumo and Kobe White, and you can't really rely on Ayo on offense because he's still young, and then Kobe White's just not that great of a defensive player, and his offensive ability is just inconsistent with what he can provide. So I don't know if the Bulls are surprising. I don't think anybody really had high expectations for the Chicago Bulls coming into the season. For me, going back to the West, I think the surprising team was the Utah Jazz, because I know they're out of the playoffs, and I know that they got a lot of players missing. But Will Hardy can coach. Will Hardy's got to be one of the most impactful young coaches in the NBA right now. I think he has strong potential to be leading this Jazz team with whoever they get into the playoffs next year. I think they're always going to be that kind of team. They're scrappy, they're tough. You never get an easy win out of them. And Will Hardy can actually coach his players without demeaning his players, which I think is extremely underrated that not a lot of people realize. Like, there's that clip of him talking to Colin Sexton, explaining to him what his mistake was, sitting down with him, giving him that one-on-one time, and then letting him get back into the game so he can fix that mistake. Like, that stuff to me is very impactful as a coach. That should get him some Coach of the Year nods. And the most disappointing team, it's the Golden State Warriors. Like, they're abysmal on the road. Jordan Poole is not living up to the contract. I don't think he really deserved that contract. I don't think I would have. Him and Anthony Simons, I don't know. I just don't know if I would. I mean, they had to. They didn't want to lose him, so they kind of had to give it to him. But I just feel like, Steph's been injured. Draymond Green's lost a step. Klay Thompson, he's been showing up, and then he's been showing out. So I don't know. And they got Gary Payton back, who I think can help them in the playoffs, which I think is a big get. But I don't know. I think the Warriors I know that we believe in them because of reputation. But at some point, we got to look at what they're actually showing us and believe it.
Hey, you got to be careful saying that, because remember last time they said they came back and won the chip.
Yeah.
They did.
But that was also a different time. They weren't 9-30 on the road. They weren't 9-30 on the road.
That's true.
What do you say about the Warriors? Because my thing crashed. So what did you say about Golden State?
I just feel like they're the most disappointing team in the West, just by the fact that a lot of players that they signed over the offseason haven't really worked out either. Like JaMychal
And they
Green.
lost a lot of depth from last year. I mean, you lose Anderson, you lose Porter, you lose Bielitsa. Peyton comes back and has minimal effect, and then you bring back Iguodala, even though Andre's about to leave and retire. He's been playing. He is not
there for the locker room. He's not actually there.
Yeah, I mean, he played a couple games, and I mean, my buddy's like, I feel bad for him. I mean, he's in the locker room, but he missed most of the year because of his knee, and then he tore up his wrist. So we're not going to see Andre again this year. No, we're not. Not even the playoffs. A wrist injury means you're done for the season. He's going to probably announce retirement. If the Warriors season ends in the playoffs, he's probably going to come out and say, thank you, everybody. I'm going to retire. But still, the Warriors this year have been disappointing for me to watch. I like watching them play, but if they don't repeat this year, there's going to be a lot of changes coming in this offseason. We know about Draymond and his situation, and with Wiggins, I got to ask about that. Do you think Andrew is going to return? Or do you think he's not returning at all?
He's coming
based
back.
on what's happening.
He's coming back.
Well, he's coming back into the playoffs, but he's not playing the rest of the regular season. And then we also got to take into account for when he was injured in the middle of the season, when they tried bringing him back. He couldn't shoot, couldn't score, couldn't play good defense. So what is that going to look like when he's coming back and rusty? I know they're trying to work him out to get him ready, but I don't know how valuable Andrew's going to be, in the first couple games. And if we just keep the playoffs the way they are, they're playing the Sacramento Kings. I don't know.
Yeah,
the
but
Kings are one of the few teams in the West that have a winning record on the road.
Yes.
So
I lagged out. Hey, before I lagged out, what I was saying about the Chicago thing was they're in the play-in tournament and they're playing Toronto, and that's another team that's been disappointing for me. My perspective,
playing is all filled with disappointing teams.
Yeah, Toronto. Nick Nurse has made an announcement saying he might take some time off. We know that the Raptors are probably going to make changes in the offseason. If the Raptors don't make the playoffs, there's a big possibility that Nick Nurse might be gone. And he might be fired. I mean, same thing with the Bulls.
Dude, I keep
with Billy
hearing
Donovan.
That. I keep hearing these Nick Nurse. Why would they fire Nick Nurse?
Masai
it's not
Ujiri.
really that they're going to fire Nick Nurse. It's by the fact that Nick Nurse has come out and said, hey, they're not really listening to me. I've been here for 10 years, even though half of them was as an assistant coach. If you look at it, I heard a podcast that was talking about it. When has Nick Nurse had a consistent team? The team's never been consistent. 2018
through 19. That was the only year where Kawhi Leonard, that team bought in, and they were connected. Since then, all the other guys, except for Boucher, OG, Fred, and Pascal. Those are the only guys left from the championship. The other guys who are Kawhi, Danny, Gasol,
Lowry.
Ibaka, Lowry, all of them are gone. So Toronto obviously had to do an undebable, and they've rebuilded. This season, it's been more of a we're fighting to get in the playoffs. We're out of the
They
playoff
can't
race.
score.
We're fighting
They can't
in.
score.
And Pascal, I mean, they're the ninth seed. And the thing is, and the play-in, if they beat Chicago and if the Bulls are eliminated, then they have to play in the 7th and 8th matchup. I don't think that Toronto can can take down Milwaukee. I mean, there's no possibility of that happening because they did it in 2019 with Kawhi, and we all know about that series with Giannis. But still, I don't know if that's a big possibility.
They're going to lose. They're going to get swept.
Yeah, they're gonna lose.
And then I think the biggest I mean, you talk about the Western Conference and disappointments. The Portland Trailblazers,
The Blazers.
they have got to be disappointing because it's about time that Portland gets rid of Dame or trades Dame. I mean, they got rid of CJ, so when is that going? I don't think he's going to leave. But I mean, the draft is coming up in the lottery, and we talked about this over and over. But Steven Silas and the AAU Rockets need to do something in the offseason. Like
AAU
after the
Rockets
game
is crazy.
and after the season, after Sunday,
Yo.
if they lose to here's the thing. If they lose to Washington on Sunday, that weekend or that week when the playoffs start, fire the coach. They need to make an announcement saying, "Thank you guys for coming to this conference. We're leaving Steven Silas." The bottom line, we're not playing at a good pace. We're not a winning team. We want to thank Steven for everything. And they need to hire somebody new. I mean, my best option is for Houston, hire Udoka as head coach.
No.
Get rid of
All
Steven Silas and fire Ime Udoka.
Off a little bit.
I don't think Udoka wants to go to Houston because you look. I think is Kevin Porter the worst starting point guard in the NBA? Bad defense. I don't think people take into account. This is another thing with like this is DeMarcus Cousins syndrome, where like bad body language like hurts a team where he doesn't get back on defense, or he's too busy complaining to the referee, or if he doesn't get the ball, he's just standing.
KPJ is a whole nother story because KPJ is a whole nother story. If you don't remember, he got drafted by the Cavaliers, had a meltdown in the locker room. And let's not forget, he had a meltdown in that locker room in Cleveland. Kids asked me, what happened with him in Cleveland? He had a meltdown after the game against Brooklyn. Taurean Prince was in the locker room. They moved his locker. He had a hissy fit. And he said, he's like, I want to play. This is modern day slavery. Kobe Altman told him, go get your stuff. You're done. And then he told the rest of the team he's not going to return anytime soon. He is not playing for us anymore. So Cleveland traded him to Houston. In Houston, he's had some good moments and some bad moments. He got into it with a coach, got suspended. And same thing. We don't know what the Rockets are going to do. I mean, the offseason, the Rockets need to fire the coach. I mean, Steven Silas needs to go, but you said something about Udoka. Why shouldn't Udoka take over the job in Houston?
I don't think he wants to play. I don't think he wants to coach a team where you have a guard who is very offensive driven, can be very explosive. But if he's not scoring, he's not really doing much else. I don't personally find him as to be a great playmaker. I don't personally find him to be a good leader. I don't think he's very net positive on the court. I think he's one of those players where his numbers look great, but you're always going to lose. And Jalen Green, I'm from Michigan. I don't like Jalen Green. You know, him saying that he wanted to be the number one pick, but he didn't want to be in Detroit. And then the way he plays, it's very
That's another team as well.
Wait, I gotta intervene because we're tailing off too fast. Cause it's gonna blend into all the other topics that we have for today. I want to take a break from talking teams and talk player awards again. As far as who I think is the most disappointing and surprising team, mine would definitely go to Dallas as disappointing. West Finals
and Minnesota.
I don't care about Minnesota. I had no expectations. As far as
they're not making the playoffs.
As far as disappointing, I'd go Dallas. I mean, they didn't have the same Western Conference Finals team, but they were still there. And then they get Kyrie. I didn't think they were going to be contenders, but I didn't think they were going to be the 11th seed. And
in New Orleans too. Let's not forget the Pelicans.
Most surprising team would definitely be. I mean, I don't care about the Pelicans. The Pelicans have never had Zion Williamson, so
he's not going to play in the tournament.
They're number one.
He's not playing in that playing tournament. He's not going to return. I don't think he's returning in that playing tournament because people say
I would.
He's done.
They said he won't be. Sham said this morning that he wouldn't be there back in time. As far as most surprising team, definitely Sacramento. I had them as like the 11th seed, maybe 10, and the fact that they're 3 seed and this offense is so good, I didn't really see it coming. I think you had to be like a very, very sweaty analytical NBA guru to predict Sacramento Kings would be the 3 seed.
I mean, those
but
fans in
to
the
individual
Summer
players
League,
now,
they said the Kings are going to win 40 games, and now they're sitting front row with their owner.
yeah. And then, I saw that clip. We tailed off a little bit. I couldn't really get us back in track. Dude, my internet is so bad right now in this house. It's so bad. I'm turning on my camera for right now because it helps the internet, at least for me. Dude, the internet was so bad it kicked me out of the studio. Hopefully, like the stream overall is not laggy because, dude, that would suck. Okay.
Let's get with the other awards.
All right. Put my camera back on. If I start lagging out, I'm going to get really mad. But before we talk about teams, because you guys were going into Houston, all that, we'll save that to the end because I want to do NBA power rankings. Like we all do our own power rankings. But right now,
because the draft lottery. Victor.
I want to give you guys this feel on who's going to be the all NBA teams. I did a little bit on the NBA award selection, who I think was going to be all NBA first team. But I kind of want to dive into like the second and third team because I'm really having a hard time finding out who's going to be on the second, who's going to be on the third team because there's so many guys in the NBA. I've never seen it like this before. I felt like when I used to make my all NBA teams a couple of years ago, I think first, second, third team were pretty easy work. Maybe third team was a little hard to do because, third's hard because some people got to cut off. But this year it's so hard. I feel like there's going to be like all NBA second team level guys who are just going to get completely cut off all NBA in general because of just how many great players are playing right now. So my criteria for all NBA teams, no Kevin Durant. Some of these guys just aren't going to be on this list because I think you got to play like 55 games to be on my all NBA team. CBA says 65 for next year. That's going to be really interesting. I kind of don't like 65.
I don't like that at all.
Some people's legacies are going to take a huge hit because they're going to be missing some All NBAs because they're not playing enough games.
That's what Draymond Green said because it's like you're going to look at this shit 10 years from now and it's going to be literal bums that are on these teams.
Dude, the All NBA,
the
All NBA. Speaking of that, because I remember like what was it 2 years ago when Colin Cowherd made the All NBA 1 through 3 teams with players who played a certain amount of games, and it was a bunch of bums on the second team. It was like Julius Randle was like all second team 2 years ago. I was like, oh, there's like some weird, and the only like superstar was like Nikola Jokic because everyone else just didn't play.
That was the 2020 to 21 season. That was the pandemic.
It's gonna be crazy because I think Kawhi Leonard in 2021, I think he only played like 54 games and was All NBA first team. So now that these guys got to be 65 games, when 65. I'm looking at all these players playing. Dude, some of these players are struggling to play 60. Like most of these players are playing 55. Insane. So that's why my criteria is 55. I think 55 games to qualify. So no Kevin Durant. I don't think Kevin Durant's going to be able to play 50. I think he might just make 50. So for
always gets hurt every year.
For my first team, I'm going to go with Steph, Luka. They both played 55 games or are on pace to play 55 games. Those are the two best guards, in my opinion, in the NBA. Luka now is losing a little bit of his spot because the Mavs are falling. But the only other guard that I think you could replace Luka with is Shea. But him and Shea have the same record, so it doesn't matter.
I was thinking Donovan Mitchell.
And then we go Tatum, Giannis, and Embiid. Now, Tatum and Giannis are locks. Embiid's a lock if you think he's the MVP. Now, for second team, I really need help. I think we can mostly, for the most part, agree with the first team, but second team I struggle with. So my second team is Dame and Shai as my two guards.
Really?
You pick Dame?
Donovan Mitchell disrespect.
Yeah, Donovan
Mitchell. Dame? Come on, man. Spider's been playing well in Cleveland. I mean, I'm picking Mitchell on my
I'm taking
second
Mitchell
team.
over Dame for real.
Because this year, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I mean, even though we're kind of going off track, this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers wouldn't be where they are without Mitchell, to be honest with you. Because over the years, this Cavaliers team has been mediocre ever since you-know-who left to go to L.A. And then you-know-who left to go to Boston. But now with Mitchell there and Garland there, they're a good backcourt. I thought that Sexton and Garland were a bad backcourt together in Cleveland. But now Mitchell and Garland are thumbs up.
It's hard because it also depends how much of record you want to put into factor. Because as an individual player, I think Dame's been better than Donovan Mitchell. But if we want to do a little bit of team success, because I think All NBA might be team success. I don't know.
I think your individual play can help your team success. Like that's like
I don't get Portland a team success.
Yeah,
but like I feel like there's
his supporting cast.
First team.
Garland, Mobley, Allen, all three of those guys are better than the next three for Portland.
Well, I mean, why are we giving him a penalty for like still playing well when he has other good players?
No, I'm not giving a penalty. I'm just saying I think Dame's having a better season. But if you want to say D-Mitch, because I slid D-Mitch to my third team, because I'm having a hard time putting him above Shai, because I think Shai's just having a better year.
Yeah, I can't put him above Shai then.
Shai's giving you
I don't know. I have Shai in my third team.
Yeah.
I just can't put somebody who's giving you like what 31, 32, and 5 on a team that's going to be in the play-in.
Steph 13. Is the only player that I'm really shaky on. And
because he's been injured.
Here's the thing though with Mitch and Shai is that they're essentially averaging the same stats. It's just that Shai is averaging like 3 more points.
Yeah.
You know, Donovan's averaging 28, 5 and 4. Shai is averaging 31, 5 and 4. So it's not like
and
Shai
the thing
is
about
blowing
that
him out of the water.
Shai has
he's
to
averaging
score
more
that.
Points.
Yeah, Shai has to score that though.
Yeah.
And like their efficiency, their efficiency is around the same. So I feel like if we're splitting hairs, then you got to go to team record and what they're accomplishing, and that's where I would put.
I understand.
Okay, so where's John Morant line on this then?
Oh, that's the big one right there.
13.
Hey man, look, I'm gonna keep it a bean. If he don't make third team, I don't know what to say about your boy.
He's giving you 26. 8
I mean, minus the whole incident that happened in March where he had the little situation.
Jaws played 60 games. He made 26, 8 and 6 on the second best team in the West. So Ja has to be on. Bro, this is why it's so hard because it depends how you it depends how you classify Jaylen Brown. And if you think Jaylen Brown's a guard, then he's not going to make the list. And he's giving you.
And he should be making the list.
Jaylen Brown is why do we think he's a forward?
I think he
plays. I think factually plays most of his minutes at guard.
Because that's like that Paul George thing. Like, is Paul George a guard or a forward?
Well, he's played the 2 guard for, like Kev said, for most of the season, and he made the All-Star as a guard. I'm pretty sure.
The thing with that though, it's hard because like technically like DeMar DeRozan was technically a power forward in San Antonio for 3 years, but then they kept listing him as a guard. And like even in Chicago, he was technically listed as a power forward. So like it's sometimes it's like, where do you think he actually goes? It's with Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton got votes last year for guard and forward and should have made an All-NBA team based on the votes, but he couldn't because they split it.
This is position this year on Basketball Reference says small forward.
Forward. So he's actually a forward. So I would put him as a forward because there's plenty of forwards.
If he was forward, I'd probably put him forward on second team. I'd put him forward on second team. All right, fine. I'll put Jaylen Brown as a forward for the sake of.
You think Jaylen Brown had a better season than Julius Randle?
Yes.
Yes.
Team's better. Stats are better. Yes. Okay, so
man, the Knicks was so up and down to me.
All right, so I'll move down Shai and I'll put
in. Going to be like a good team.
I mean, they're up and down, but they're the 5th seed. This is the most wins they've had since 2013. So like, they were definitely up and down.
I have zero faith in them in the playoffs.
You know what, bro?
They're playing Cleveland.
They could beat Cleveland.
Where does De'Aaron Fox go?
He should probably go to. So what is your third team? So wait, give me your second team.
Was the most
I need that second team.
Snub, man.
Second team right now is looking like D-Mitch, Jaylen Brown, LeBron, Jokic.
Then that third team, I think it should probably be Fox, Shai, Shane, whatever.
Dude, no
It should be
Kyrie,
Fox.
no Ja. This is insane.
I guess then. So I guess are we putting Ja? I guess you would put Ja over Fox in terms of the All NBA third team.
I
No,
gotta put Fox.
no,
I gotta put Fox.
Because KD
Fox
is
lead the
probably on
NBA
that
in clutch
13 for
burns,
forward,
but I
and
gotta
so
put
is
Fox in
Lowry. And then
Ooh, KD can't.
the
He
center
missed
spot's
way too many
Sabonis.
games.
Lowry be a third forward. I put Lowry third forward.
And I think Sabonis is the center.
Yeah.
I'd put him
Sabonis
over
is
Bam.
center
I'd
for
put
the
him
third
over
team.
everybody else.
So my third team right now is Shea, Fox, Randall, Lowry, Sabonis. That is, first of all, a disgusting third team.
Hold on, where y'all got Jokic at?
He's second team.
Oh,
Wait, you don't got KD in the third spot?
He didn't play enough
KD
games.
missed way too many games.
You don't think so, huh?
I said for my list, you got to play 55 games, and KD, I don't think he's going to crack 50.
How many games
fair
did AD play?
Oh,
same
you're
amount as
too
right.
many games.
I think the same amount as LeBron. Oh, he's played 53. If he plays the last two, then he'll play.
He
No, he's
might
played
not play the
54.
last two though.
Anthony Davis has played 54 right now.
That's crazy. His nickname on Basketball Reference is Street Clothes.
Holy, yeah, I just
Man.
That's
Oh.
insane. That's crazy.
So
I don't know. I think that third
is
team
Anthony
is
Davis a
perfect.
center?
Like
Is
I
Anthony
don't think
Davis a
Kyrie
center?
should be on there. I think you can make an argument for Fox and Morant, but I think it's good the way it is, the way you got it.
Is Anthony
Say
Davis
13
center this
fuck
year?
me.
I'm trying to
Like,
think about
it's
this
He is
messing with
technically
me.
a center, yes.
But Red sounds good to me.
I don't think they're gonna give it to
And it's
Anthony
gonna be
Davis.
crazy if Ja don't make the team. Hey, that's gonna be crazy.
I don't think they're gonna give all NBA to Anthony Davis. I don't think they
No,
will.
they're not. They're not.
Uh-uh.
So I'll just leave him off because they didn't give him All Star. I'll just leave him off. All right, fine.
How many games did LeBron play?
56, I think. I don't know. It's more than 55. Maybe 4. But okay. So first team.
Oh, he played 53. LeBron played 53.
Yeah, but he'll make it though. He'll make it.
Okay.
You're gonna give it to LeBron over Anthony Davis if the voting came.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even though I think AD's had a better season, but LeBron's stats low key look better. And
29, 8, and 7.
yeah, but I think Anthony Davis' impact has been better than LeBron's. But
Because they know what they're gonna get from LeBron. It's Anthony Davis that needs to step up. When you're 6'11" and you got those long arms and you have the potential, the talent to be that 30-point game scorer you were in the playoffs years prior, and you just don't want to because you don't want to be a center. It's for people not like stop taking you seriously.
So all NBA teams from top to bottom. First team right now, we have Steph, Luka, Tatum, Giannis, Embiid. Second team is where we get tricky. Right now we have Dame, D. Mitch, Jaylen Brown, LeBron, Jokic. Third team is when all hell breaks loose. And we have Shai, Fox, Randall, Lowry, and Sabonis. With notable guys getting left off like Anthony Davis, Ja, and Kyrie. Jalen Brunson isn't here. There's a lot of people who won't be here. Trae Young won't be here. A lot of people not in this.
Trae Young.
A lot of people like Trae Young, so
I get that they like Trae Young, but like I don't like if I was a GM, I wouldn't want Trae Young on my team.
I wouldn't either. But I think Josh should be on this list. But
Are we
Sean
putting him
so
over
too.
Fox? That's the thing. Are we putting him over Fox?
That's the only person that we can take out, and I'm sorry.
Honestly,
I'm not,
yeah, I would
Fox
take out
bro.
Fox. I would
I'm
take
not
out
taking
Fox.
him out. I'm not doing that.
Ja or
was
Fox,
definitely
who's
like
had
the
the
biggest
better
all-star
season?
snub.
Who's had the better season, Ja or Fox?
I mean, looking at it, Ja like his numbers are technically better. Gets more points, gets more rebounds, gets more assists. De'Aaron is more efficient from the field, but not by a whole margin. I guess you can. They're to me, they're switchable. I think you can put Ja as the third team, and I don't think anybody would be too upset about that. I just think the thing with Fox is, if I'm looking at it, he's been more consistent. He's played more games. He's been there the entire
72.
time.
He's played
Huh?
72. He's played 72.
Yeah, and Ja's under 60.
I think Ja's right at 60.
Yeah, so we're splitting hairs, and maybe when I say that, that's not that big of a deal for them. You know, some people say, "Who cares if we played more games?" We're going with the actual player. But
I'll stick with Fox. I'll stick with Fox. Austin Fox.
It's just gonna have to be one of those years, man.
That's
Yep.
why I don't like the positionless at all NBA teams. I think I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
Positionless
that
is going to
either.
be terrible because we did it this year. All NBA would just be filled with guards. It would
So
just be
what do big men have to play for anymore? Like you got rid of their center spot in the All-Star game. Now we're getting rid of the positions in terms of the it's I don't like it personally.
Dude, we're going to start seeing a lot of big men just not get NBA teams. Either Jokic.
We've already seen big men shooting 3-pointers.
If it goes positionless, that all NBA third team center is just not going to get in. I don't think an all NBA third team center will ever get in. Because there's usually like a gap always with that all NBA third team center from like the first and second team. So if they went positionless, that all NBA third team center would not exist.
Like I understand them doing this 10 years ago when like DeAndre Jordan was making all NBA first team, and then you had like older Tim Duncan, who I still love Tim Duncan, but older Tim Duncan making all NBA first team. You had Joakim Noah making all NBA first team. I get them wanting to do that 10 years ago, but now where you have all these actual like good centers and power forwards, I just see no reason to do this now.
I think Nick Wright said it perfectly. I just think we're messing with the record books too much. I just think the consistency we're gonna have in like 20 years as far as player debates. Because as someone who's an accolade merchant, I don't like seeing this, all these changes. Nick Wright said it best. They should just do positionless just for like all NBA third team. Don't change positions for first and second because those are extremely important, and you're going to leave guys out just because of their position. I would make all NBA third team positionless, but first and second team, I wouldn't touch it at all.
Yeah, like all NBA first team would probably be a lot of bigs, but then the second and third team, like they would mostly be guards. Like Ant, you got Dame, you got Kyrie, all those guys. Like the first team would probably be Tatum, Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic, and then probably Luka at first team. And then those second and third teams are just going to be guards. Like I doubt there's going to be any forwards.
And as far as the CBA, is 65 games insane? Is that like insane? I'm looking at
I think they need to get rid of back-to-backs.
When I'm looking at all these players and I'm looking at their games played because I'm trying to pick who's going to be on this team, none of these players are playing 65 games. And it's like, dude, who's going to be MVP? Who's going to be this guy if he's not playing 65 games?
I think the games thing is messed up. I think minutes required, makes sense because should be like, because some people are gonna like Drew is gonna like check in the game then check out. Well, that's gonna hurt your stats and gonna hurt your minutes played. But 65 games, like we shouldn't have a marker for where players need to play. We should just they should just be able to play. There should be not that many back-to-backs. There shouldn't be reasons for them to sit out during a primetime game. We shouldn't have LeBron James play back-to-back games this late in the season. We shouldn't have certain teams play. Like, I don't get it. Like, why are we doing this to the players? Instead, we should be pointing to the schedule makers. Hey, do a better job with creating a schedule.
Yeah, I don't like back-to-backs at the end of the season, too. How the Lakers are playing all these back-to-backs. I think Golden State's had so many back-to-backs, too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
We can move
Lakers,
on.
Though, apparently they had the least back-to-backs in the league. That was a big criticism about like LeBron's comments, I guess, after the game.
Oh, the Clippers
issues. Yeah,
dude. When they play the Lakers, they had like 3-4 games off. I thought that was insane. They did play Sunday or Saturday. Then they got that huge break to the Lakers on Wednesday.
I still don't understand how we're not like. You have these primetime TV show like these games, Clippers versus Lakers. That's a primetime show. Why are we having the Lakers play a back-to-back against Utah, then come to LA? I know that they're not that far, but you still got to travel. I feel like why isn't that they haven't been able to create a schedule where, hey, we have this game that's very important, give them 1 or 2 days of rest. That way they can play. They will play. But instead, we still have these instances where guys are not playing on national TV because they just played a game the other night and they can't play.
Eliminate back-to-backs. Just eliminate them.
They should. I mean, this NBA season, we've had a lot of games. I mean, this year, I think the scheduling wasn't that bad. I mean, on November, the day before they had the election, they had no games that day, which was good because people could go out and vote. Because I remember in the bubble, when they had the bubble, before I joined this, my buddy said they should do a day in the NBA in November when they have no games. Everyone goes out to vote. And I told him, smart idea. They should do that. Eliminate certain games like Christmas Eve, no games.
They had no games on Monday, I'm pretty sure. Or
Yeah.
there's a day where they had no games this week.
Yeah, it was the national championship game because of college basketball. They want everybody.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I keep every year I say when it's the national championship in basketball, they want everybody who went to that college, or if it's your college that you went to, they want you to go out and support. Like Andre Drummond was at that UConn game as well with a few other ex-NBA players who retired. So it's a good idea to eliminate those kind of games.
About that. I don't want to make this pod too long because my internet's like destroying me. I don't want like a 3-hour long pod of just destruction. I'm gonna save for Monday's show. I'm gonna save the power rankings draft for Monday.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this was the title of the show, by the way, and we haven't even started it. We're an hour in, but I'm gonna ask you guys what's been the most is it who? When you talk about a team, is it who or what?
It is who, I think.
Okay, who? Okay, whatever. Who's been the most overrated team this year? And then who's been the most underrated team this year?
Oh, that's a big one.
I'll start.
I gotta go with
Yeah, he'll start.
Oh, you guys, I'll start.
Yeah.
I think my most underrated team this year is Cleveland. I think when everyone talks about the Eastern Conference, you hear Boston, Milwaukee, Boston a couple times, and then like maybe one or two people who think Philly. No one in their mom says Cleveland. Now, I don't think Cleveland is the championship winning team out of the East. But I do think Cleveland can give any of these teams. If Cleveland saw Boston, if Cleveland saw, this team in the second round, they could make some noise. I don't think they will beat them, but I'm just saying, like, Cleveland can make some noise. They have the roster to do so. They have one of the best defenses in the NBA. They have Donovan Mitchell, who's known to rise in the playoffs. So they got all these guys, and if Karis LeVert can be a great bench player, great rotational piece, a great wing scorer, that he hasn't been consistent all year, this Cleveland team can make some noise, and I don't hear anyone really talking about Cleveland in basketball discourse when it comes to the Eastern Conference. I think Cleveland's just flown other people's radars, and I think this is a really good team who can compete with anyone in the East, who isn't afraid of anyone in the East. And then
the Cavaliers definitely are underrated because when we did a podcast about this, I keep reminding everybody about the rebuild. I did a video talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the history of the team for over the years. And I said, this team has been through a lot. In 2017, Kyrie Irving wants out. He gets traded. They still have LeBron James. When they lost, LeBron gets out. And they rebuild it. Kevin Love was the center of attention. Then you had Colin Sexton. And then you bring in Garland. But now LeBron, Love, and Sexton are gone. So now it's Garland's team and Mitchell's team and Jared Allen's team. And I think they're going to put up a fight against New York because the past couple of games, the Knicks have killed them.
I'm really trying to go to that game too. I'm really trying to go to game 1 or game 2.
Because Cavalier fans, my friends in Cleveland, they're excited. They're saying, the playoffs are back, baby. We're back in the playoffs. And my friend runs up to me yelling, let him know. He starts shaking me. I'm like, dude. He just grabs let him know.
As far as most overrated team in the league, I think the most overrated team in the entire NBA is Golden State. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like this take. I hear this all the time. Golden State, once we get Wiggins back, once we get this back, Golden State's going back. So many people have blind faith in Golden State. They just think that in a change, in a Wiggins appearance, this team's going to turn it around and be that same championship winning team. No. I think this is the most overrated team in the NBA. They can't win on the road. You're telling me that a team that a lot of people have to go to the West Finals, a lot of people are putting money on, a lot of people are betting on, a lot of people that have belief in, doesn't even have 10 wins on the road? Doesn't? What is the actually? Is it still?
No, they're 9. They only have 9 wins. The
team doesn't even have 10 wins on the road, and they're expected to go far in the playoffs. And a lot of people have them as one of their I see Golden State like as
Can they
top
beat
5
Sacramento?
contender to people. It's like I don't see it. They keep saying when Wiggins comes back. How are we supposed to know that? First of all, when Wiggins did come back this season, early on in the year, they weren't that good. They were still losing on the road.
Yeah.
Their defense still wasn't good. They still didn't look like that same Golden State team, even with Wiggins. Wiggins isn't going to erase all the problems. And if Wiggins does come back, he's going to need games to warm up. They're going to throw him into like a first, second round series if he comes back. And they think they can just plug Wiggins in and go to the title. A lot of people have Golden State as some of their favorites. A lot of people have Golden State in the West Finals. I don't see it. I don't think this team is clicked the same way as they did last year.
I mean, last season's team was very, very special because you added, of course, the first thing was before the season even began, when they had training camp, the Warriors did the unthinkable where they said, hey, we're going to choose between either Avery Bradley or Peyton. Instead of going for Bradley, because people did not know that Avery Bradley was with the Warriors in training camp, they decided to go with Peyton instead of Avery Bradley. And GP was one of those key players coming off the bench last season. When Clay was out for half the year to start, GP was starting. Then you had Jordan Poole starting a couple of games. And when Clay was getting his wheels back or his rhythm back kind of to get his legs underneath them, they started to roll. In the postseason, they beat Denver. We know the story about the whoop that trick Grizzlies team and what Golden State did to Gary Payton, but they beat Memphis. They take down Dallas, and then they go back to where they were over the years, the NBA Finals, and they won the championship. Steph gets the MVP in the Finals for the first time, and people in San Francisco are celebrating that Larry's back in, and not in the Bay anymore, but San Francisco. But I'm just saying, this Warriors team, I wouldn't sleep on them because they can flip the switch, and in the playoffs, and it's like a boxing match. One match, timeout. They're going on a 10-0 run. Then still timeout again. They go on a 2-0 run. That Warriors team, we don't know what's going to happen in the postseason because they play. Who do they play in the first round of the playoffs?
Sacramento. And Sacramento
If
is
they
one
play
of the
the
only
Kings-
teams in the West that has a winning record on the road.
Oh, and yeah, Mike Brown knows every single secret of that Warriors team. That's what I'm forgetting. He knows every single trick they're going to throw at him. If you're the coach of that former team, he's going to throw every punch at that team. It's like, I know everything. I was coaching. I'm going to say, hey, Steph loves to shoot. Go left. Or Clay's going to go right there. Go right there. So that's the disadvantage that that's the advantage the Kings might have in the postseason, is that they let go of their coach, and Mike knows every single secret that Steve does, and he's going to show that in the film thing this week when they have the playoff practices and stuff, because once the season ends and the playoffs start, they have a lot of practice to do. And they got a lot of film to watch.
Kev, who's your most underrated and overrated teams?
I think
I hearing
underrated.
yours is very interesting. I don't know if the Cavs are underrated personally. I think they're properly rated. I think for me in the East, though, I think the most overrated team in the East is the Miami Heat. Like, I hear people saying that there's a chance that they could take the Celtics to 7, that there's a chance that they can come out of the second round. You look at their team, man, they're probably the worst offensive team like that's in the playoffs in both conferences. They can't score. They're relying on Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler, though, I know is a great, playoff performer, especially last year. But, he's a year older, and now they're even more relying on him because Kyle Lowry is 3 steps behind what he used to be.
And you bring in Kevin Love.
Yeah, but what do they expect from Kevin Love? That's the thing. Kevin Love, I know he takes charges.
He's not the same Kevin Love from the Minnesota. Because I keep saying, I don't know why the Heat brought Kevin Love, but here's what I keep saying to Miami fans:
they just needed.
This is not the same Kevin. This is not the same Kevin Love from Minnesota. This is not the same Kevin Love who was playing well in Cleveland and won them a championship. He's getting up there in age, and he's getting older. I mean, the Miami Heat, their roster, they brought in a lot of guys like they have Lowry. They got
a lot of money and a lot of guys that aren't living up to their contracts.
They got Cody Zeller too. They even picked up Cody Zeller.
Yeah, Cody Zeller is shown to be a decent big man. I mean, him and Jimmy Butler have shown they're working out. But the thing with Miami is that they just don't have any reliable pieces.
And they don't have a solid rotation.
Yeah, I mean, the times they win, they rely on spurts, explosions, good nights. They don't have consistent nights. Max Strus is not what he was last year. Duncan Robinson barely plays. Gabe Vincent is one of the most inefficient guards that plays a lot of minutes.
And the rookie, they added the power forward rookie, Nikola Djokovic. He has not played that many
and what
minutes
were they
this year.
expecting from him? A skinny European player that, what were they really expecting? So, he has, he's not going to play in the playoffs. They
Because
got
the kid
Cody
was like, "What
Martin.
about that Djokovic kid? He hasn't played that many minutes." Like, because wait, what? Last we seen him was about in December. He's been out with an injury, and when will he be playing? The coach makes the rotations. I mean, the Heat have Lowry. They got Vincent, Hero, Victor Oladipo Victor's not the same player like he was in Indianapolis years ago. Oladipo is it. And the Heat signed him, and last year he was playing okay, but and they have Robinson. I mean, the Heat should have traded Duncan Robinson immediately.
I mean, they want to trade him. There's just nowhere to trade him. Nobody wants that contract for a player that isn't a great defense and isn't showing up as the one thing that he's supposedly good at, which is shooting. And with in that Miami team, like, there's just way too many ways to like disrupt their offense. Like, they're gonna heavily rely on Butler and Hero. And Butler, he's gonna be who he is. I think with last year,
46 minutes,
he's gonna always show up. But with Hero, there's if they play Boston, you got Smart, you got Derek White. They can throw Jaylen Brown on them. There's just way too many things with Miami where I think that they're overrated. Where people are saying that they can beat Boston, I don't think they're going to beat Boston. I think they're going to get. I think they're either going to get swept or losing 5.
Because I keep saying that about the Heat. The Heat's problem is with Duncan Robinson. It's been a rise and fall. When he first came in the league, he was shooting threes and being popular. But then in the playoffs last year, because I listened to him in a podcast recently, he said not playing in the playoffs or not getting. I played in one game, and not getting minutes sucks. I mean, I want to be out there and help my team, and in big games and big moments, I can go out there and show them I'm a difference maker. But Bam is a good center. I mean, Bam he's not a shooter. He's an inside presence player, but he needs to take a lot more threes. They have Haslam on the bench, and they got Zeller. But this Miami Heat team in the postseason, I think they're going to play. They're playing Boston, but this is a rematch. If the Heat beat the Celtics, that's going to be interesting because Boston, they want to go back to the final. I don't think
chance. No,
they're not beating them.
That's what I'm saying.
And I do agree with Kev. I haven't really heard.
It's going to go to 7 games.
I haven't heard that many people directly stating that Miami's this and that, but I do see where you're going because I indirectly hear it from people. They see the Jimmy Butler Heat overachieving twice in the last 3 years, and then they could kind of just do it again. I was kind of in that boat to start the season, like, hey, don't sleep on Miami. But I'm watching more and more of these games. I don't like that offense at all, and I think
it's non-existent.
We're not just relying on Jimmy Butler. We're like relying on him times like 1,000 to be like LeBron every single game. Adebayo's good, but Kyle Lowry's even worse than he was last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't. Like, unit at all is not competing with the Boston. It's not competing with Milwaukee. They did overachieve here and that. Honestly, when we were talking about the most disappointing teams, I'm surprised you didn't say Miami because they went from a 1 seed all the way down to a play-in team with almost pretty much the same roster. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I think the thing is with Miami, like, I don't think they're disappointing because what were other people expecting from them? Like, what were the expectations of the Miami Heat? They're getting a year older. They didn't really add anything. They lost pieces. They lost.
I think their preseason projections were like 5th seed, I think.
Yeah, and what are they? The 7th seed. So it's like they didn't really break expectations. They did fall under expectations, but I think with Miami, people are looking to them with Boston, and they're saying because they beat Atlanta in the first round last year, why can't they beat them this year? I think there's a chance that they could lose in that 7-8 matchup against Atlanta and fall, and then they're going to get hammer smashed by Milwaukee. But Bill Simmons talked about it with Boston and Miami, saying that he's scared of Miami. I don't know what he's scared of. I think there's nothing there. I think when you
this is a heated rivalry. Let's not forget the Heat and Celtics have met so many times in the playoffs because over the years, kids are always bringing up saying they played each other in 2010. Okay, we're not talking about the Dwayne Wade era. Like, they beat him in 2011. We know that LeBron did that. Like, 2012, they beat him. We know about the Ray Allen drama when LeBron beat him. Like, and then in the playoffs, they don't meet each other ever again. And then last year, and then 2020, Bam gets a legendary block on Tatum, and then they go to the finals. And then he's like, last year, it was Jimmy had a chance, and everybody was like, my friends are they're wearing Heat jerseys, they're on their feet. And when Jimmy brought the ball up, they're like, he's going to make, and then he missed the 3, and then all of them were in disbelief. Yeah. But still, Boston and Miami is a good matchup.
Kev,
what's up?
Who's your most underrated?
I'll throw this out quickly. I think it's personally, maybe I'm crazy for saying this, but I think it's Denver. I think people don't realize how insanely good Nikola Jokic is in the playoffs. I don't think their offense is going to change with him. I feel like it's going to be the exact same way. Now, obviously with Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and all those other players, they might miss shots, they might go cold, but when you got Nikola Jokic in there who can run, you can run that offense through him, and he's one of the most consistent guys you can have. And I feel like I know Joel Embiid is number one in terms of being an unstoppable post player, but I think Nikola Jokic is right behind him, and I think with his ability to pass, he's a threat anywhere on the floor. I feel like then people are underrating Denver because they're an unknown commodity. Not an unknown commodity, but just by the fact that people don't know what's this new trio going to look like with Porter, with Murray, and Gordon in the playoffs actually playing together. Because I know Porter is a bad defensive player, and when he scores a lot, they're great. When he doesn't, they're not so good. So I just feel like with Denver, I feel like people are not giving them the credit that they actually deserve.
All right, Cap, what about you?
Overrated, I definitely give it to the Warriors. You said everything that I had on my mind. Their road record pretty much says it all for me. I definitely don't take them lightly when it comes comes time for playoffs, but I definitely think they're the most overrated team. Underrated, I genuinely say the Timberwolves are probably the most underrated.
Really?
Yeah.
Rudy's not a good mix with Cat.
No, honestly, I think they could make some shake. I think, honestly, I've seen Edwards take a big jump. I've seen Karl Anthony Towns is finally back. Rudy's just Rudy. He stayed level. I haven't seen a jump nor a decline from him.
Conley.
Honestly, what was it?
Conley and Naz Reid.
All right, so I don't know. I don't know what the expectations were coming into the season, but were people high on Minnesota coming
Their
into the season?
expectations were to not be in the play-in. You get Rudy Gobert, you
They
trade
were?
away your future.
I thought they were like, I had them like.
They were ranked. They were going good. They were playing good basketball until Cat got hurt.
It doesn't matter.
trades.
It doesn't matter what we think or what we thought they could be. It matters what their expectations were with the moves they made. They gave up a lot of first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. Ant was expected.
I thought people thought they were going to be better. I thought the consensus.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of good things from Minnesota.
I thought they were going to be better because this season, after they lost to Memphis, they made the Gobert trade, and then in November, Cat gets hurt. There's some inconsistency. In February, when the Lakers have their dysfunctional drama, they call up the Timberwolves, they get back D'Lo, and then they got in Utah, they trade away Conley, and Conley saying, "Oh, this is a good opportunity." Now him and Rudy are back together again. Cat comes back, and Minnesota is now playing really good basketball. But now they're in the play-in tournament with 9th and 10th with OKC and Minnesota. So I think the Timberwolves overall, I don't see them making the playoffs. I mean, it's too little, too late. But we'll have to see what happens with the play-in tournament games because this week will be interesting. Chicago has to make a point as well because there's a lot of news going on in Chicago with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Billy Donovan's on the hot seat as well, and Toronto the same thing too. But my overall kind of teams with overrated and underrated, I got to go with the Lakers being overrated kind of because they've been playing good basketball with D'Lo and AD and LeBron. And underrated, I got to go with the Phoenix Suns because the playoffs, we know how bad the playoffs are with the Phoenix Suns the past 2 seasons. They had a chance against Milwaukee, and they lost because Giannis came alive. They had a chance against Dallas, but Luka said, everyone talks tough when they up. And they beat them in Game 7 in embarrassing fashion or humiliating fashion.
The Suns are overrated. I mean, I don't think they're underrated. I have them as my champions. I think a lot of people have them as their West champions. I think it's fine.
But they have to go. But they have to go up against the Clippers.
State take, but I think a lot of people just buy into blind faith. I mean, Golden State, they don't even have 10 wins on the road, and no champion for a long time has ever. I think since at least going back to the 3-point era, 3-point edition in 79, 80, no NBA champion has ever had a negative road record. Not even like a negative or like 500 road record. and now
Oh yeah, that's the big question.
Like a 20-point swing on the road. I mean, they have like 20 more losses than wins on the road. Something crazy like that. And I
The
just
bigger
don't think
question is going to be the playoffs.
people
We'll see
keep
if the Warriors
believing
can
in
turn it
Golden
around.
State. They see last year's team. They think they see last year's team when that's not what's actually on the court.
Because last year's team was special. I mean, last year's group was special. You had Bielitsa, you had Porter Jr., you had Anderson, and you had Chris Chiozza, who didn't get minutes. You had Quinn Weatherspoon, he didn't get minutes either, and Damian Lee, who's Steph's brother-in-law, who's on the Suns now. That group was, and you had Mike Brown and you had Barbosa as the coaches too. That team was special. But this season, when you lose a bunch of, because I always say this about every team that wants to repeat, when you lose players, the team falls apart.
Bro, Vegas got to know something. Golden State plays Sacramento on the road tonight, and Golden State's a 9.5-point favorite.
Oh, this is a thing that pops up. Key sideline. This is what it's thing. It says key Mavs sideline. Irving, Haywood, Wood, and among players ruled out Friday. Since we're getting close to the playoffs, you're not going to see a bunch of players playing. And for Dallas, they should not. I mean, the Mavericks, they played.
I'm talking about Sacramento.
Yeah, they have Sabonis and Herder as doubtful for the game.
Yeah, they play the Bulls. They play the Bulls tonight.
But Golden State's a 9.5-point favorite on the road. No Wiggins. And they've never they don't win.
And Iguodala, and they have another guy out too.
Bro, I don't know what Vegas is seeing, but if Vegas has a line like this, they're smarter than everyone. I always have a lot of love. I throw out odds all the time. People don't like when I bring up Vegas, but Vegas runs the numbers. They do these simulations. They're smarter than us. They've seen more games. They do their little mathematical equations, and they're not going to put a line out that won't make them money. They're not going to do a line that's completely false. The fact that Golden State's almost 10-point favorites on the road when they're historically bad against the third seed in the West sums up. I'm going to pay attention to that game too. That one's not on TV, but the one that is on
and then
TV.
Sunday,
do you think players look at the odds
probably not
prior to the game and
probably not?
No.
Really?
Yeah, but Sunday, when we have the games on Sunday, there's a lot of other matchups you're forgetting about. For the other matchup that's going to happen in the playoffs, it's going to be Brooklyn and Philadelphia on Sunday, and then they meet each other in the playoffs. But the bigger question with the Nets, even though the Nets are not really a hot team because they lost Kyrie and they lose KD and the coach gets fired, but do you think Brooklyn's going to put up a fight against the Sixers in the playoffs, or do you think it's a sweep?
No, probably in 5 games.
I think it's 4 games. It's going to be a 4-game sweep for Philly because Philly's going to sweep them.
I'll give Mikal Bridges a game for him to have 40 points.
I don't think Philly's going to – Brooklyn's not going – I don't think Brooklyn's going to beat them because, one, this is a Nets team that's been a soap opera all year
I didn't say they're going to win the series. I just said I think they're going to get a game.
It's just a game. I'll give them.
There's going to get a game.
I'll give room for Mikal Bridges to have 40, and
he'll have one good game, and then afterwards it's done because
exactly. I think they win.
It's not even. I told my friend, it's not even a series. My dad's like, it's going to be a Brooklyn's going to win. It's not a series, and And they said, well, with Brooklyn, we forgot about one player who's been very bad. The man who can't shoot. My dad's like, Ben's a good player. No, he's not. Like this season, you've been putrid. And someone's like, I believe in him. Like, I believe in Ben. You shouldn't. I told him, you shouldn't believe in him. Last year, he didn't improve. This year, he didn't improve. In the summer, he's been out and he's been injured. I know he's been injured and he's had a back problem. But this year, he needs to do something this offseason.
You don't have to worry about Ben Simmons. But as far as Sunday, though, Pelicans, Timberwolves might be a little play-in preview. They play on Sunday. That's going to be huge for their seeding. Pelicans has a game on them, but that would just be interesting.
Hawks and Celtics. That's another one on ABC, on ESPN. Hawks play the Celtics, and then you got let's see who else plays. San Antonio and Dallas. We know that the Mavericks are fighting to get in the playoffs. Pelicans and Timberwolves. That's a big game for them. Grizzlies and Thunder. That's another one as well. Suns and
watch because I think that would be a tough watch because Dallas and Thunder they're both tied with the 10th seed, and it'll probably come down to Sunday to who gets into the playoffs. So definitely.
And who gets out, who's in and who's out. Because if Dallas loses, then it's ping pong balls. If Oklahoma City loses, then we have a play-in tournament. And then, of course, we have Phoenix and the Clippers. And then the Blazers play the Blazers play the Warriors and Warriors and Blazers. That's no Dame, no problem. I think Golden State's going to beat them. And then of course we have the Lakers and Jazz on ESPN. I mean, I always keep tabs on the 1 o'clock games. I don't keep tabs on them. I mean, only the Hawks and Celtics game. But then everybody else, I'm keeping tabs on because the last day of the season means play-in tournament playoffs. Because next Saturday, the fun begins. The show, the real season begins for the journey for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. For the other teams, thank you for a good year. See you all next season. Get prepared for the draft. Victor's on the way.
All right. Well, I want to continue this episode, but we've kind of chatted this episode, and we're an hour and 20 in, so I'm gonna end it here. Also, my internet was selling all day today, so I'm gonna watch this tape, and I'm just gonna see me lagging across the entire screen. If that messes up, bro, I'm gonna be because we're do that to start the show. I kept seeing because StreamYard, when you're lagging, it says there's like an internet symbol at the top, and I'm like, bro, it showed up the entire stream. So you guys could hear me though, but that probably means my video was like glitching. And
no, it definitely was. It was glitching for sure.
Oh, mine was kind of glitchy too. It bugged out.
Yeah. So, but overall, good show. A lot of great discussions. We worked through the All NBA teams, which took a while because I couldn't decide who was going to get on the third team. Restated my awards. Yeah. So on Monday, I'm going to do to wrap up the NBA season. That'll be the real wrap up show. Now that the season will be over, we can look into the playoffs. We can do playoff predictions. First round. Oh, I just dropped my chain. Playoff predictions, and I'm going to do the power rankings that I was going to do today, but since we went on too long and my internet sucks, I'll save that for Monday. We do the final power rankings of the season. Rank who do you think from top to bottom is the best teams in the NBA, and then we'll do
playoff preview. The playoff preview,
play-in preview, and then playoff preview. Yeah, and then we'll do that.
Yeah, like the matchups. We do the play-in tournament. We're going to do the play-in matchups, and then we're going to do like the playoff matchups as well, like who's playing who in the first round.
Yeah.
What about so Monday is going to be like the review. We're not going to, the power ranking. Yeah. The Monday is going to be like the review of the season and everything. And then power rankings. What about the draft rankings? Like to see who's going to get, I want to see who wants to get Victor. I mean, once we get the playoffs, we get further in the season. We should the playoffs.
When it's time for the draft. When I do my draft.
Yeah.
When I talk about who's going to be in the draft, I'll say that for the summer.
But yeah, because we could do draft show.
Thank you guys for
this has been fun.
27th. I got to worry about the NFL draft first. My NFL draft show is probably going to be next week.
Oh, yeah.
And also, tune in tonight for the games. The Lakers and Suns. But first, Bucks and Grizzlies. First game of the night are those two teams. That's a big marquee one.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the 27th episode of Some Casual Takes hosted by your boys, Steven Pepper. We're going to be on, like I said, we're going to be on Monday with some official season wrap-up show. It's going to be a crazy one. Hopefully the internet's more sustainable. My internet's sustainable now.
But yeah, it's good right now.
Yeah, because I think more people left and it's spotty. I don't know. I need to go back home and start filming episodes. I can't wait for summer when I get better Wi-Fi. But thank you guys for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Monday around like 5 after my classes is when we're going to go live and wrap up that season because there will be a lot to talk about because there's going to be some teams who won't even make the cut. And we got to talk about
and a lot of upset people about it this weekend.
I cannot wait to come on here on Monday and talk about how the Dallas Mavericks and Kyrie did not make the playoffs. Boy, would my agenda be insane if they don't make the playoffs. And I would be so happy if I came on.
And I'm not going to – there's going to be a lot of talk about that Mavericks.
It'd be the happiest stream ever if I come on here on Monday and the Lakers are the 6th seed. I'd be the happiest stream ever. I'd
praying on it, man.
Pray, man.
But
just pray.
You guys are tuning in, man. I can't wait to see how this season goes. You'll know where to find me.
Good one, man.